After an epic 4-hour thriller where Team Olympian were our opening round winners, we're hopefully going to be looking at another fantastic 4-hour race. We have a 21-car field with our winners from round one having to start at the back of the grid.
Barely a cloud in the sky, but here we go. We're going to go racing this time around.
We certainly are. Red River Sport on the front row of the grid, looking to try and possibly get themselves towards the front and taking down the advantage. Lights are out on the gantry, and round two of the 2023 funcup Endurance Championship bursts into life here in the heat of Snetterton and down towards turn one for the first time. It's already a very strong start from one of the former champions, Uwe Hoffmann's Motorsport, who are already into second place, already past GCI Racing as they turn into the right-hander. And as Viking Ursus Capital try to make their way through a couple of spots already, you've got PLR Racing and in there too, the Teamolympian car. And that's a big move down the inside for Hoffmann's Motorsport. That's almost a record getting towards the front of the field for them. They usually take a little bit longer than that, but I think their record was about 13 minutes from towards the back of the field. They started a bit further up in that one, but they're already diving down the inside of Red River Sport. And you also got car to watch out for at the moment is definitely Teamolympian. I said about to watch for Riley Phillips. I was proven right because looking at his lap times, he's now on a 2:17.792. Last lap he was about at least a second and a half quicker than the two cars in front. As for Teamolympian, his next time, new fastest lap of the race. Riley Phillips is absolutely railing along. Look at this, 2:17.112. That is a full, at the very least, 1.5 seconds taken out of the leaders, 1.7 taken out of Team Uvio, 5.8 away from the second place, 6.4 off the lead. I think Riley Phillips quite fancies taking the Olympians' second win in as many races in this weekend. They took Brands Hatch. The pace he's going, they could be good for taking Snetterton.
It certainly looked like it. With only 6 seconds to catch our leaders, the back markers could play a role here. If the leaders get into a bit of trouble, get held up a little bit, that will play into Olympian's hands. But with the way that Riley is driving at the moment, a fantastic lap time there, setting that lap. Dare I say it, Scott, could he get it into the 16s?
It's a possibility. I don't think it's outside the realms of what's possible in one of these funcup cars. I think I wonder if the temperature might possibly play a factor if it gets a little bit too warm out there for some of these cars, at least warmer than they anticipated. But at least if it's only 2/10 off, and also have to factor in as well, this is 2:17 with still a relatively full fuel tank because he took 2 churns of fuel at the second pit stop. So this is on a relatively full fuel tank. I imagine that Uvio GSM may have also taken fuel as well. I appreciate that. But the fact he's lapping that quickly was certainly more fuel on board than anyone else.
Absolutely.
And he's a second and a half quicker. It just shows A, how quick Riley is, B, how quick that car is in general, C, how quick the team is, and also D, how well it's set up to cope with the conditions. Even with all that fuel and in these warmer conditions, that car's motoring along. And I bet within the next couple of laps, it has to catch the top 2. We're going to get a 3-way scrap for the lead very shortly, I'm sure. Yep, that's how close they're getting. As they come through the bomb hole, a little bit of curb taken there from Uvio as they sweep through. And again, just through the 4th round once again was the little green flash. That's Team Olympian's car trying to catch up to these two. And at the pace it's going, he's going to do that relatively soon as the 251 car there, which has got Tom Greensall at the wheel, is about to be lapped by the top 2, nay top 3 in a second, because Riley Phillips, full tank or not, is absolutely charging here. It's only be a couple of laps, they'll be right on them.
Absolutely, and I saw him, I'm not going to mention it, Scott, track limits. I did see a bit of extra curb being taken there, so I wonder if the officials are going to have maybe be firing out a couple of warnings there. But for a back marker, that JPR for hire car, that was one of the cars that we were talking about in that first stint as fighting for the lead. So that penalty has clearly cost them, and again shows that in this race series you cannot afford those mistakes that either get you a penalty or get you a pit lane visit for whatever reason, whether it's mechanical or a pit lane issue. But the car in first place at the moment, GCI Racing and Uvio, cannot afford to be held up by this back marker because, as it stands, Team Olympian have taken even more time off them, and the gap has shrunk down from the leader to Team Olympian in third, 3.924 seconds, and it's going to be shrinking even more. You could see that little car in the background, the green car, and then you could just hear the Jaws theme tune in the background.
Yeah. As the saying goes, it smells, I think, like a shark. It smells blood in the water, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
He's getting closer. Rather than need a bigger boat, at least he'll be thinking we need more pace rather than a bigger boat in this point in time. But look, in terms of the context of how much more time he took out, another 1.4 seconds, essentially completely depleted from the lead gap from GCI Racing down to Team Olympian. So first to third covered by a fraction under 4 seconds at the line. And this lap traffic is certainly helping GCI because Ian Wood's been able to negotiate it better than Farkini has, and so he's now having to try and chase after that car. But again, as you rightfully said, was one of the cars that was in contention in the early stages for victory, of course, stages for the lead, in the lead group. And of course, that car had Martin Gibson at the wheel. He'll get back in at the next stint, and the next pit stop stint is incredibly only 10 minutes away or so. This race, even though it's supposed to be 2 hours, it feels like it's flown by incredibly quickly in this first 2 hours, doesn't it? It feels like really has felt like a 2 hour sprint race rather than an endurance race. And because of that, and all the battles that we've had, we're already an hour and 50 minutes into this race, but it doesn't feel anything like an hour and 50 minutes. It feels like more like half an hour.
Exactly, as you've really got to concentrate on these races as well, because the way the lead is changing so much, these back markers are playing a role. Now, the first and second place car, GCI and UVO, have managed to sneak past that back marker, but just as importantly, the car in third place, the green machine in front of us, Team Olympian, they've managed to get past that back marker very, very quickly, certainly a lot better than the leaders have, and even we could see physically in front of us, that gap has absolutely diminished, and Team Olympian starts this lap 1.8 seconds behind these two, and it won't surprise me as we see some track limits warnings going out on in front of us in terms of the marshal screen. There's nothing we can actually see on the timing screens currently, but there are some more track limits warnings being posted. I won't say yet, Scott. I do have a feeling that that is for one particular car. As we see in front of us now, that green machine, Team Olympian, they really are right up there, about to get onto the bumper of UVO, and I think the next time we come around, Team Olympian is going to be fighting for the lead with these two. We're going to have a three-way fight for the lead of this race, and as it stands, Olympian really looking good heading into the next round of pit stops, which is not long to follow.
Yeah, I think all through that sequence, through the exit of Murray's all the way through to here, you can just tell physically the body language of that car from Olympian just shows pure pace. It shows that Riley Phillips is pushing that car as hard as he dares to the limit, but not overstepping it too much. And now, in quick time, he's right on the back of Farkini here. If he doesn't get him on the exit through Oggy Williams, he certainly should get him on the run down the Bentley Straight towards Brundle and Nelson. It should be, on paper at least, a relatively simple pass here because there's plenty of pace in that car. To give you an idea of context of pace, last lap was a 2:17.2 compared to a 2:19.2 for GCI, and a 2:18.6. He was another full 1.4 seconds quicker. And here he goes then, Riley Phillips in the green Team Olympian car, pulls alongside Farkini with better straight line speed. Farkini's giving as good as he gets. They're still wheel to wheel out of the draft, but in towards the complex of Brundle and Nelson, and it is Team Olympian into second place. One more move, one more to go for the Team Olympian to get back in front here. And it's going to be Ian Wood has to try and get around, but Riley Phillips is on the prowl here. He's up to second place, and I'm sure if the pace he's going here, Rob, first place has to be surely moments away.
It's heading that way, certainly, as they go round Cora for the first time. The closing speed of that Olympian car, he's already gone into second place, and it wouldn't surprise me, Scott, if we start this next lap with a new race leader. I don't think he's quite going to do it this time around, but it's surely going to be this next lap. We're going to have a new leader of this race, and it's going to be that Team Olympian car. And what a drive from this guy. Absolutely fantastic as they come down the start-finish straight. And a brand new fastest lap. I said it would happen, Scott. We've gone into the 2:16s and a 2:16.952. A fantastic fastest lap. And it does look like we have got, just as we've got a potential change for the lead, we're going to have to head down to the pit lane, down the inside into the hairpin, and as we've got a brand new leader for this race, we're going to have to cross down to Jamie Peters-Ennis, who's got a new interview lined up for us in the pits. Move into the lead, and in that space of time from the interview and us coming back onto the circuit now, they have cleared a 2-second lead to GCI Racing in second place, and Team Uvio Hoffmann's Motorsport in third place. This is an outstanding drive from Team Olympian, especially in this stint. They have been hugely impressive, and surely they are in the box seat now to continue their good form from Brands Hatch.
I think it was quite a wise thing for both Chris Devell and Christian Rose to bring Riley Phillips back into the fold, because he was racing with a couple of other teams since they won the title. Or at least last year he was in a different team completely. It was just Chris Devell and Christian Rose with a couple of different guest drivers that came in and filled the seat with them. Whereas I think now, Riley Phillips back in the car, certainly making the most of that, and essentially showing what they were missing, because now he's in that car. Anytime he gets into it, whether it was in the last couple of years when they won the title, even at Silverstone here at Brands Hatch, he's looking quick, and he always has been quick in any Funcup car that you stick him in.
Absolutely. Now, the one to watch, we've had a change for second place, and that's Team Uvio Hoffman's race for our viewers. In first place, we've got Team Olympian, and they have set the fastest lap of the race. They are the only car to get into the 2:16s, and they've set a 2:16.952. The car in second place is Team Uvio Hoffman's Racing. In third place is GCI Racing.
And then Scott Parkin's the last two cars to come in. Now, as for Olympian, they'll carry on as long as they can, but Riley Phillips has really made the most of this stint.
He is running the neck out of that car, isn't he?
He really has. I think he's another one for James to go and have a chat to, because we know from history that Riley is quick. Of course, he was part of the championship winning team a couple of years ago, so obviously we know that he's a very quick driver anyway. But the fact he's put such a brilliant stint here to kind of not just haul the car back up into a position where it could challenge for the lead, but then take the lead and then be able to extend the lead by nearly 10 seconds at this point on top of that has been absolutely magnificent. So I think it might be the next interview that Jamie will probably look to line up once the Olympian guys come into the pit lane.
And the fact that Olympian did, correct me if I'm wrong, so they did a double fuel stop in the last one. So in theory, this next one,
you're right,
gives them a bit of an advantage in the pit lane because they don't have to put any more fuel in if they don't want to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yes, I'm actually down with Riley Phillips. Firstly, belated happy birthday. You turned the ripe old age of 21 on Thursday. That was a mental stint, mate. You ought to be so happy.
Yeah, it was a fantastic stint. It's really hot out there, so it's quite hard work, but yeah, just in the middle of the stint, the car turned on, everything worked out, and yeah, I've got some mega lap times in.
Three-way scrap for the lead here between Olympian. It's going to be changed here up the inside. There goes Uvio to make it through. GCI gives it the hip and shoulder. Round goes Olympian. There was contact with GCI. Round goes Christopher. Now then, we're not going to speculate. That one might have to be settled by the stewards, because I'm not sure that Julian Floyd's going to like that, because that was contact there with GCI, and I see what they were trying to do, because Uvio went through, GCI saw a gap they tried to go through, and I don't think Christopher expected GCI to be steaming up the inside like he did. It wasn't hard contact, but it was enough contact to knock the Olympian car off course onto the dirty part of the circuit. Round goes the Olympian car, and I have to say, all the hard work that Riley Phillips has done, gone in an instant.
Well, he's got that last stint to make up for it, Scott, but just as we thought this race was perhaps done and dusted in terms of the podium position.
Absolutely. It's never done and dusted the funcup race to the checkered flag.
Racing in third place. Team Olympian have still got 28 seconds to make up in this next stint, and it all depends on how the car's feeling. I mean, we're coming up to the last hour, Scott. Is it on?
It's always on to the checkered flag, essentially, when it comes to funcup. It's always looking pretty close, especially you've got Shy GB, GCI and MJ Tech after. Well, GCI is still the top team to have made a pit stop so far. Out have gone Team Greenheath after their pit stop. They came in from what was ninth place. Well, they came in from what is now ninth position. Uvio are in, so they've now got to come in. They're not going to take the pit lane closed board. They're going to come straight in. Now again, this is going to be a key pit stop also. Now, have they got fuel? Well, yeah, 2.3 second gap. Has that come down to just a fraction under 6/10? And that's in one lap alone. So at the moment, Christian Rose is doing everything he needs to do. He's pushing on as hard as he dares to get himself in the mix. And again, he's lapping quicker than the top two cars in front. Olympian and GCI on similar sort of pace at this point in time. But it's now Uvio who are in massive trouble, and here comes Ian Wood then once again.
What drivers are going in last? Because I don't know about you, but Riley Phillips, he was absolute dynamite in that Team Olympian car. It's looking good for him again. I don't want to put the kibosh on it, but I'm so looking forward to him getting back out.
Do you think, because they did this to get Christian Rose in the car, do you think that when the pit window opens in literally about 4 seconds' time, that they'll bring in that Olympian car in early to stick Riley Phillips and to give him the most amount of driver time, provided it's within the driver time allowed, in order for him to try and maximise how much time he's got to reel that gap in? Because if I'm Olympian, and let's face it, let's be honest, Christian Rose's pace has been great towards the end of this stint. It's been fantastic. He's in the 2:18.3s, so it definitely isn't slow. But we know that when Riley was at the wheel of the car, he was pumping in 2:17s consistently. He's the one that set the fast lap of the race in that car at the time, 2:16.9. He can lap about, must be at least half a second quicker, at least, than Christian can. And Christian's no slouch. He's a very fast driver in his own right. So I wonder if Olympia will play that card and go, right, stick Riley in. He's got, what, some 35 minutes or so, just over that. Basically, stick him in there, and his objective will be simple. Get after the top two, go catch them, and see if we can still win this.
Absolutely. What a prospect, Scott. What a prospect. And look at it. It's been a fantastic afternoon.
Now then, that's interesting.
Here we go.
I wonder, are they doing exactly what I suspected they might do? And let's see, is there any fuel as well either? No fuel. So this is it, then they're going to the end. It's, again, just as I predicted they might well have done. They brought Christian Rose in the early part of the stint, sticking Riley Phillips in, right, one objective, go get the victory.
What a pit stop. That was absolute lightning, Scott. Fantastic work.
They were practicing that all last night. I watched Jamie Peters-Ennis watching them, and even given a tiny bit of assistance, I think, practicing those pit stops. They were practicing that in their pit garage last night. That is a rapid pit stop. So now Riley Phillips has got one objective, literally, put your foot down, go set the same lap times you set to set the fast lap of the race, get after that top two and go for that victory. He's on it now.
Oh, Scott, this is fantastic. What a prospect we have here as we see the first two cars in our shot. That is Uvio and GCI Racing. They've got to pit. Now, the question is, do they have to take fuel? What drivers are going in for those?
A really good stop once again from Uvio. GCI still waiting, and here comes Olympian. Here comes Riley Phillips. Now then, he'll be coming down the pit straight. This is going to be very close indeed. Uvio still coming out of the pit lane now. GCI a couple of seconds away from coming off the limiter. And it'll be Riley Phillips at full chat now, so it's now going to be a straight three-way fight between Fabio Randaccio and Uvio Hoffmans, between Craig Butterworth and GCI, and it's now going to be Riley Phillips and Teamolympian. They're both maintaining first and second. Where's Riley Phillips on screen? Any second, there he is. And the lap time last time was a 2:18.0 once again, and the gap is covered across the line. It's now 12 seconds. So again, that improvement in the pit stops, they keep on gaining about 4 seconds per pit stop. It's now 12 seconds between the top three. We've got 25 minutes to go. Three-way shootout for victory here at Snetterton.
Oh, Scott, this is fantastic and absolutely brilliant crescendo. It's all boils down to this, and that car on screen that we've just seen passing Team Uvio, they're in first place. There's the car in second place, the GCI Racing car. They're in second place, and that car on screen now, that is the quickest car currently on pace. And that's got Riley Phillips on board. Teamolympian, they're in third place. He's got a back marker to deal with. I'm sure they'll be able to dispatch of that car, no problem. But he is on the hunt. So what can Team Uvio and Hoffmans Motorsport do? What can GCI Racing do to keep those cars in the lead, on the pace? And something tells me, Scott, this next 25 minutes, it's going to be a juicy one. And don't forget, GCI Racing potentially have got that little question mark just hanging over it after some earlier contact.
As if EDS Motorsports at number 104 card is having a bad enough day
now,
itself.
I'm just looking at the timings as they've come across the line. Team Uvio and GCI Racing are in the 2 minutes 21s. And Teamolympian, that man Riley Phillips, is just stuck in a 2 minutes 17.8. He has absolutely licked the stamp and sent it on that last lap.
A full 4 seconds faster on that lap alone than Uvio Hoffmans Motorsport. Riley Phillips is superhuman at the moment. This is fantastic pace of him, and this is what we expect from him at this point as well. Another team is also running pretty well also and trying to close in. In fact, he's actually pretty close for fourth place now. That's another battle to watch out for. MJ as they come out of Murray's. Let's see how close it is this time. I think they're all much closer together, I think. Look at this. This is not 4.2 seconds anymore. Look at this. Across the line they come then. Lap times 2:18.9 for Uvio, 2:19.2, 2:16.7 for Riley Phillips. That is a almost 2 seconds taken at 1.8 seconds in one lap. So the gap was, what was it, 4.2 seconds the last time by. It's now down to just over 2 seconds in one lap.
This
so
is
three of them all together, and there's still 13 3/4 minutes to go. Any one of these three could still win this. As to what order they're going to be, we can't call this.
Scott, I don't believe this. This is absolutely brilliant. The gap over the three has gone down to 2 seconds. We've got a stop-go penalty for car number 104 for pit lane speed. So unfortunately, their afternoon gets even worse for the EDF car there. And that's in 16th place, and that's a good move now for second place. So he's down the inside. A lovely little move into the hairpin at Agostini. GCI Racing, not a lot of... he didn't really fight back, but unfortunately when you could see a car going that quick, the only thing he could do is just stay behind him, take the tow and see if they can catch up to the Team Uvio car. But it's on, Scott, it's on.
Yeah, Olympian up to second then. Riley Phillips with a really clean pass in towards Agostini, and now he has, of course, just one more target left to go, and that
Scott, this is a grandstand finish. We've got just under 12 minutes to go, and that's a little move down the inside potentially at the hairpin.
He was thinking about it. He danced into the mirrors of Fabio Randaccio. He's a little bit wayward on the apex as well on the exit, but Riley Phillips now senses is his best possible chance to get the Olympian car back into the lead and to go for their second win of the season, 2 in a row after winning Brands Hatch. But here's the top 3 all together once again. GCI waiting in the wings in 3rd place, but this is now Uvia Hoffman's Lotus versus Olympian now for the victory. GCI a little wayward over the curb there for Randaccio, and here comes Riley Phillips having a look. Darts out, puts himself into Randaccio's mirrors. He knows he has to keep on applying the pressure, but if he doesn't get in here, his best chance has got to be down the back straight. He has another look, he darts out. He's just setting him up for a move here if he can.
Oh, a little bit of a lock up, and he's down the inside!
He's gone through! So a big move, I think he's setting up for the move. He dummied him up the inside. Fabio missed his braking point, went too deep. Beautiful piece of race car from Riley Phillips, and into a lead now with 10 a bit minutes to go. Goes Olympian, what a finish!
Absolutely on tenterhooks, but I tell you one thing, take a bow, Riley Phillips. We've got 10 minutes left of this race. That was a superb move, forced a mistake down the inside as they come into Nelson now, and Uvio's got the GCI racing car all over his back bumper, through the bomb hole, round to Coram, and that Team Olympian car, that has certainly got the pace now. I don't want to say it, but could this be done, dusted and sorted for them? And we're now looking at the battle for 2nd place. But the other thing that we haven't taken into context yet, we've got traffic.
Yeah, there goes Olympian. There goes Riley Phillips dealing with it pretty simply. I wonder if there's going to be a job there to fight back from a spin, but Riley Phillips has been the absolute charger in that car, and he, Christian Rose and Chris Devell will mean Team Olympian win round 2 of the 2023 funcup Endurance Championship with a brilliant couple of stints from Riley Phillips, including Chris and Chris Devell as well. Fantastic driving from all 3 in that car, and it is 2 wins on the bounce from the first 2 races to give them the maximum score from the opening salvos here in 2023. GCI Racing take the 2nd place on the penultimate lap to pick up a great result for their first appearance of the season in what is going to be a part season for them. And for Uvia, before you depart, Rob, I have to say, an amazing drive from Riley Phillips. Chris Devell and Christian Rose played their parts, but you have to say, the MVP in that car, Riley Phillips, 2 monster stints. The first one to really get himself into that contention when they're led for quite a while before the 4th pit stop, and then to really claw back and take that lead, first past GCI, and then that magnificent dummy into Oggies on the Uvio cars to take the lead. I have to say, in terms, if there's a driver of the day, not there is a driver of the day too much for funcup, but if there was, without question, regardless if he's the winner or not, Riley Phillips for me, MVP of the day. Fantastic stint from both 2 stints from him to help Olympian take the victory here this afternoon.
Fantastic drive there, and a fantastic race overall for the funcup Endurance Championship. I have thoroughly enjoyed that, Scott, for the fact that for the 2nd week in a row we've had an endurance race on the BRSCC package that has come down to the last few laps has been nothing but a credit to the racers, to the organisers, to absolutely everyone involved in this championship.
With Riley Phillips, Riley, one word, astonishing.
I surprised myself a little bit. Obviously, I can see them coming out of the pits ahead of me, and I'm like, there's a big gap. I got a lot of work to do, and I kept it together, and wow.
I mean, were you aware of the amount of time you were taking out of the top 2? I mean, you got it from 12 seconds when you came out of the pit lane. Within 10-12 minutes you were there. I mean, at one point you were taking 3-4 seconds a lap out of them.
No, I wasn't. I said to the team, just let me drive. I don't want to hear too much over the radio. And, when I was coming up to the back of them, I was asking how much time's left. But in the end, everything seemed to work out just fine. So I was really happy with that.
Anglesey next. Obviously, you'll have to start at the back again. We're on the shorter coastal circuit at Anglesey, and it's a circuit that's had mixed results for you guys. But again, you want to keep that momentum going, haven't you?
Absolutely. I mean, we've got fantastic momentum now, with 2 wins. So, I'm really looking forward to Anglesey. Anglesey is a great track.
Congratulations, Riley. 2nd place was Craig Butterworth from GCI. Craig, welcome back. As we said before, nice to end on a podium. Not quite the win you wanted, but I mean, what an astonishing drive from Riley. I mean, he caught you guys so quickly, didn't he?
There was no way I was going to beat Riley. We just did not have the pace. So the mission really was to then try and beat Uvio. And I'll be honest, there are times I'm like, I just don't think...